These two guys, Stephen Aldridge and myself, were asked by this madman, Phil Rawlings, to film a documentary in Iceland. So we did, and Stephen produced a fantastic film about the adventure. So why am I going through over 8,000 files to do it again? Because simply put, I just want to see more. Is more better? Not really. I've included shaky shots, misframed shots, water on the lens shots, shots that should probably never be used in a serious film. But I don't care. I just want more. Iceland has a way of doing that to a person. You see it, you experience it, you love it, and you can't wait to do it again. I'm Ty Coleman, and this is my adventure while filming in Iceland. When the airline screws up your flight so bad that the only way you can get to Iceland is to fly 3 hours past it to Amsterdam, wait 7 hours, and then fly 3 more hours back to Iceland, well, you make the best of it. And since we're stuck here for 7 hours, this is probably as good a time as any to introduce everyone. With the long layover behind us, we started our 3-hour flight back towards Iceland. There is a Viking quote that states, "A wise man gets going while he still can. If he stays too long, even the brave grow fearful." All the flight time had gave me plenty of opportunities to second guess all the things I was previously sure of. Mostly my equipment loadout and its ability to function under Iceland's harsh environment. It felt great to be on the ground and start working. Icelandic was a major sponsor for this adventure. From the time we touched down until we were wheels up headed back to the United States, Icelandic made sure we had everything that we needed. Vans with drivers were waiting outside the airport ready to take us to our motel. Our drivers were great and did their best to answer the avalanche of questions we had regarding all the new things we were seeing. The ride to Reykjavik gave us a glimpse of some of Iceland's beauty, but in no way prepared us for what was in store. Upon arriving at our motel, we met GB, who would be our guide for our adventure. There's a good chance that GB knows Iceland better than anyone, and he was the perfect match for our group of misfits.
I've been doing mountain travel since I was probably about 17, and I've been taking tours with horses probably since I'm about 19, so that's more than 6 months.
GB has a passion for wanting people to experience Iceland in a way that makes you feel like Viking blood could be part of your own heritage. We never felt like tourists, we felt like explorers. We would experience things that most tourists could only dream of, and that adventure was about to begin. By the time we dropped off our gear and luggage at our rooms, we were sneaking up on what little night exists in Iceland in August. People were hungry, and GB had already arranged dinner for us.
So I figured a good fish restaurant would be popular close tonight, lighter,
Dinner was fantastic. GB personally knows some of the best chefs in Iceland, and all of our provided meals were world class. After dinner, we spent a little time exploring downtown Reykjavik before heading to our rooms for a little sleep before our adventure the next morning. The new morning brought with it rain, and plenty of it. Waterproof clothing and our filming gear were definitely going to be tested. The rest of the group grabbing breakfast and catching up on the latest social media and messages from home, GB, Phil, Scott, Tony, and I left to retrieve the other off-road vehicles that we would need for the trip. Iceland is famous for big tire off-road snow trucks. It's not often that we see this particular type of setup in the United States. When a group of dedicated off-roaders rolls into a shop like this, it's like someone handed out free cocaine in a Hollywood strip club. It's safe to say at this moment no one cared about any problems they may have come to Iceland with. Language barriers were broken down, stories and gifts exchanged, and with a little coaxing from GB, we left with his Nissan Patrol, his Jeep Gladiator, and 2 Toyota Land Cruisers that quickly received the names Master and Baby Yoda. After a quick stop back at the motel, we loaded everyone up and headed east on Iceland's Ring Road. The Ring Road is 821 miles of mostly 2-lane blacktop and connects all the major cities around Iceland. The Ring Road is a great way to see Iceland, but for us, it was just a jumping off point to get to bigger adventures. 2 hours in, and we stopped to buy diesel and road snacks.
BB,
Yeah.
what's next?
Well, next is diesel for this one, and then we're gonna go into the interior. So we're gonna Christian you in river crossings.
With a whole 2 hours of travel time under our belt, it was apparent that people were already starting to develop a love for Iceland.
Going through the mountain pass with all the fog was actually really pretty. You couldn't see very far, but it was really pretty too. It was almost kind of relaxing. You're just kind of up in the clouds.
And what did our resident Irishman have to say about the rain and fog?
It's perfect. It feels like going back home.
The vehicle's full of diesel and our pockets full of treats, we exited the Ring Road for the day's first adventure. As we drove straight past Seljalandsfoss, you could cut the tension with a knife. Nobody wanted to miss this famous Icelandic waterfall. GB looked at me and smiled, then keyed his mic and let everybody know if we were good, we might be able to stop on the way back. That's the sound of a smooth ride, better traction, and a reduced risk of tearing a tire open on the sharp volcanic rock. Airing tires up and down is a necessary part of off-roading in Iceland. For me, it was always a welcome opportunity to stretch my legs and to take a few more shots of the amazing Icelandic scenery. I mean, come on, where else in the world are you going to be able to get a shot like this?
I think so far the thing that I'm most happy with is actually just how happy my wife is. She is really happy to be here, and I'm having a great time hanging out with friends, playing in the dirt, doing what we normally do, but also realizing where we are on the globe is pretty epic. These waterfalls are amazing.
With tire pressure lowered to a comfortable 15 psi, we made our way over the rough volcanic road to our first of many water crossings. I knew going in that water crossings would be part of our adventure. What I didn't know was just how many we would have. So, fearing this might be one of only a handful, you can actually see me panic to get a shot set up as the other vehicles came across.
Catch these guys.
Tony, can you wait? Maybe back up a bit. I'm gonna let Steven out.
Turns out there was zero reasons to worry. GB knew what would be involved with a production like this and went out of his way to give us the time needed for filming. I envisioned this shot as I ran to the water's edge. Although it's just a puddle compared to some of our other crossings, it still turned out to be one of my favorites. We were across the first of what we would soon realize many water crossings. When we were not in the water, we were taking in the beautiful green, black, and electric yellow colors the rain had brought out, only broken up by the occasional warning that Dorothy was no longer in Kansas and big off-road vehicles would be needed to continue forward. Stream and river crossing points can change daily in Iceland. So as I watched Baby Yoda pushing water halfway up his grill, the importance of being with a good guide was cemented home. As I mentioned earlier, I was worried that I wouldn't adequately capture the water crossings. Before lunch on our first day, I had lost track of the number of crossings we had made.
The river crossings are really cool, but the scenery, oh my gosh, just so beautiful. And of course getting to play with, you know, big tires in Iceland. I mean, what's not to like about it?
Rounding a peninsula, we changed course from crossing rivers to driving up them. Ahead is the remains of a glacier that was decimated by a volcano in 2010. The resulting flood caused by the lava flow through the ice permanently changed the features of this valley. The deep black ash deposited from the volcano can still be seen today in stark contrast atop of the remaining portion of the glacier. Not only would we see the effects of fire and ice, but we were driving right through the middle of modern Icelandic history, and we would top it off with lunch.
How was it? Delightful. Amazing.
So one of the things I wondered is if I would enjoy Iceland as much as I enjoy Utah. And I wondered what would strike me differently about Iceland versus Utah's, you know, red rock canyon countries. And I am loving the colors today. We've got these black on green colors, and then in this glacier behind me, I don't know if you can pick it up very well, but it's got that polar ice color that's in there. And on top of the glacier is the black lava ash from a volcano back in about 2010, I believe. And I'm just loving all the colors and layers and textures here.
But you have to hike quite a ways to get to a waterfall in Utah, and they're just all over here.
Their waterfalls are
anywhere you look.
everywhere.
Waterfall. Oh, another waterfall. Another waterfall.
With our gourmet picnic lunch thoroughly enjoyed, it was time for the next leg of our journey.
All right.
So we're actually going to go up here. We're going to climb off this one. That's going to be kind of cool.
Four high now?
Huh?
Four high?
No, I think we just keep low until we get up to the crest over here, over this little pass, and then we can go high again.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a little bit of a climb going up.
Okay.
Where were we headed, you ask? Thorsmörk, or translated, Valley of Thor. More specifically, this volcanic canyon. The Valley of Thor is considered to be the most beautiful place in Iceland. I don't know who gets tasked with making that sort of decision, but it is without a doubt beautiful. More than just beautiful, there is a feeling of peace here that borders on magical. GB led us around a almost invisible corner. If your focus was on the main canyon, you would easily walk past this entrance. After passing through an arch in the volcanic wall, we entered a chamber fit for Thor himself. There was no way to capture on camera the grandeur of this room. Trust me, Stephen and I tried. Shooting with as wide of a lens as available to us, there was still no way to properly represent what we were experiencing. No one would have objected to spending the rest of the day right here in the Valley of Thor exploring every inch we could, but GB's a man of his word, and he had promised us a quick look at Seljalandsfoss if we were good, and so far we had been on our best behavior. The epic journey to the Valley of Thor was just as epic on the way back. Water crossings never get old. A storm front was moving in. We had hoped for a bright sun slowly setting in the west to illuminate Seljalandsfoss, but our arrival at the falls was met with rain and fog. Maybe at home the rain would have dampened spirits, but here, with this group, impossible. For example, some of the group's waterproof clothing turned out to not be so waterproof. Phil had been wet for the last 10 hours and probably suffering from hypothermia, but there was no way he was going to let a little thing like dying from exposure ruin his day. Watching him get pummeled by ice water with only his smile keeping him alive is one of those things that makes me proud to be called his friend. GB had one last surprise for us. He told us there was a small, insignificant waterfall that we might still want to see because it was on the way to the motel. He also told us that chefs were making our dinner preparations, and if we wanted to have hot food after a cold day, then we could take no longer than 15 minutes to explore the fall. Rounding this corner, we caught our first glimpse of the little, insignificant Skógafoss. Dropping 200 feet, the sound of the crashing water is deafening. The ground moves with the vibration of thousands of tons of kinetic energy impacting the bedrock. We loved it, and true to our word, 15 minutes later, we were back on the road. Short ride later, and we arrived at Hotel Vic for another awesome dinner and the opportunity to get a little sleep before tomorrow's next adventure. Or instead of sleep, we could go explore the world's most dangerous beach in the dark, in a storm. Ooh, let's do that. This is Black Sands Beach in Vic. However, this is not video that Steven or I shot because this is what our video looks like. Dark can in no way properly describe how dark it was. GB taught us that Icelanders, early in their young lives, were taught the power of per capita. When I said we were going to the world's most dangerous beach, well, it is without a doubt the most dangerous beach in Iceland, but throw in per capita and you have completely changed the dynamic of your statement. We did actually get some sleep that night and awoke ready for day two's adventures.
Today we're gonna leave from Vik. We're gonna go over the sands. So there's a huge sand here. So these were all sands that are from old, kind of came from the glaciers and came out with the wash and the rivers, and then kind of the streams filled this up. Now Myrdasandur is a much newer sand, so that is recently kind of captured by lupin, but used to be just black sands. We're going to see Mýrdalsjökull in the distance. We're going to drive by that for a while, and then we're going to get up to here, and we're going to take the mountain road up to Laki. We're going to come down here. We are going to drive all the way by the glacier. We're going to see the...
How do you say that?
Vatnajökull. We're going to do a zodiac tour on this lake up to the glacier, and then what beach is there?
Black Diamond Beach.
Yes, that's it. And then we're going to go over to very close to Hub, where we stay for the night. So this day was 14-16 hours. This one we need to be here by 4:30.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Well, that's doable. That's
Well,
only
what
that.
are we doing sitting here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Waiting for everybody.
Scott mentioned there was a clunk that developed in the Gladiator, and being a group of mechanics, it was now game on to fix the Jeep. Jordan was the group's voice of reason, and Steven caught this clip discussing the problem.
We go in the Gladiator today so you can hear it while we're driving, and we don't have to take up more time.
Yeah, we do have a time issue today.
Let's do it. Literally 5 minutes later.
We got 2 track bars out. One on each car.
So that means we can combine and make one good vehicle and one
From a
really interesting. Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one.
How you doing, Tony? You know what? I'm in Iceland. And I'm driving these. So I'm pretty happy.
It's been an amazing experience, and it's only like day 2.5, 3. We still have a week left to go. I don't know how else you can top this.
Well said, Lacey. It's hard to imagine a day better than yesterday. But Iceland is full of surprises, and although we got off to a less than ideal start, we were now on our way to explore the craters of Laki. I can honestly say I never traveled a road in Iceland that wasn't an experience in and of itself. With glaciers on the left and beaches on the right, this section of Ring Road had become its own destination. When the Laki system erupted for over 8 months in 1783, it hemorrhaged 42 billion tons of molten rock across this very area that we're going to stretch our legs on. In 240 years, there's been just enough soil and nutrients created for moss to establish a foothold on this basalt wasteland. It may be thousands of years more before this bumpy landscape becomes rolling hills suitable for the farming that once took place here in 1783. With planet-altering history behind us, we turned off the ring road for the day's adventure in the interior. Just a few miles off the ring road, there is an amazing little canyon. In English, it's called the Feather River Canyon. In Icelandic, it's called a word that the human tongue finds near impossible to pronounce. Justin Bieber decided to shoot a video here, and now its interior has been closed to tourists due to the increased traffic. Thanks a lot, Justin. It's a bit of a walk to the observation deck, and knowing our tight schedule for the day, we opted to have Steven make a quick flight over it while we stretched our legs. Back on the road with just one quick stop to ask some locals for directions before lunch. Gonda sheep, are we still on the best road to reach the park? Thank you. C.S. Lewis said, "The sun looks down on nothing half so good as people laughing together over a meal." That thought is not lost with the good people at Icelandic. These are not vending machine sandwiches. Our lunches were prepared fresh each morning by restaurant chefs at the hotels we had just stayed at. We were currently in Iceland's largest national park. As with most national parks, there are rules regarding drone flights. This young ranger just handed GB our permit to fly in the park. Laki is another one of those spots that you could easily spend a day at. Most of Iceland is like that. The question is, at what cost? What do you sacrifice by spending a day at one attraction? Again, this highlights the importance of traveling with a good guide. Icelandic is masterful in the way they are able to show you so much without you feeling like you missed something. Laki is a treasure trove of contrast. As we walked the black volcanic path to the first volcano, we had no idea that the crater would be full of the most vibrant colors imaginable. Laki's lakes are beautiful and most are easily accessed with just a short walk. The Laki region is not just about volcanoes, it is also home to some of the most unique landscapes that I have ever seen. With volcanoes in the background, this was the perfect turnout to make a quick drone flight. This valley full of twisting streams made me want to explore every inch of it. A task that would be impossible to perform even if you had a year to do so. Well, we definitely didn't have a year. In fact, we didn't have a spare minute because waiting for us on Iceland's south shore of the Atlantic Ocean was another adventure, one we were all greatly looking forward to. Leaving the interior, we made our way back to the ring road. As always, the roads used to get to the next highlight are as much a part of the experience as anything else. It's a fact, and one that has changed the way that I see things as I travel at home. It's time we all let the journey be a more important part of our adventures. The combination of the things that we have experienced plays an important part in how we imagine the things we have not yet done. All of my travel outside of the US had been through various countries in the Middle East. If I had to describe the Middle East with one word, it would probably be shady. So, when Phil told me a Zodiac trip through icebergs was on the itinerary, this is the first thing that flashed through my head. An old Zodiac crewed by two men, one driving and constantly assuring us everything was A-OK. The second man frantically pumping a bicycle tire pump to keep air in the ship. My imagination could not have been more wrong.
Yeah, Ármann, and this is Ármann right here. We're going to be your captains and guides for the tour today. And before we get started, just some safety information that we need to go over. So you guys got these very fashionable suits from David. These are flotation suits, and they keep you afloat in the water. And if they don't keep you afloat enough, you've got the life vests here as well. These should self-inflate if you fall in. If they don't, well then, tough luck. No, I'm just playing. Then you can pull on the little plastic piece on the front. So it's just located. Yeah. No, on the other side, the little plastic. There you go.
Cheers. You want me to get yours?
As we headed for the dock, it was comforting to see that hazing the new guy is a universal part of all cultures.
Hey guys.
Alright, here we go. Your lives are now officially in my hands.
Sweet. You do a good job.
Yeah?
We feel very safe.
Trust you. Feeling confident with that? Or?
Well, your life is in your hand too, so I
don't care about mine, man. I don't want to get emo just off the start, but
Iceland is a photographer's dream. Any one location could be photographed for hours. To me, the icebergs were amazing, each unique in color, texture, and layers. Thank you, Neil, Phil, and Scott, for this awesome opportunity.
What's your favorite thing you've seen on one of these tours?
probably a boat full of bachelorettes.
Oh.
That was a good one.
I bet.
No, I mean, I've been here for 6 years. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, and I mean, when icebergs flip, that is always like a rare treat to be able to, you know, right place, right time to see it. When that happens, it's spectacular.
Right here, Stephen is asking me to get a shot of the water going past the camera. My mind instantly went to the intro of the 1980s hit TV show Miami Vice. Not being able to see the screen, I totally botched the shot, but if you're old like me, you will totally get what I was going for.
And it actually used to be more deep here until big iceberg hit the bridge.
What?
Yeah, an iceberg hit the bridge like 10 years ago, and they were like, it made like a big dent, and they were like, oh, okay, maybe we should do something about this, and they filled in the bottom of the river here to make it a little bit more shallow, safer.
What did they do with the iceberg that hit the bridge?
Shot it.
Really?
I don't know, just waited for it to melt, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of like when you're choking on ice, just be patient. An iceberg this size, how long would this last in here until it's melted?
Until it can make its way out onto the bridge?
No, until it fits in a glass of whiskey.
5 years. Oh.
It would be about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
Oh,
No way.
That melted
gone in
because
2
it's
weeks.
melted. It's 180
That
feet
thing's
down.
2
It has
weeks,
to melt.
Glacier behind you.
Eating an iceberg.
Yeah, that's fine.
It has dirt on. You got a piece of dirt, dude. Oh.
It's good for you.
It's ash. What
ancient
are you talking
minerals.
about?
Steve Irwin. Oh, it's a view. Jack!
got lucky.
Yeah, I got real lucky.
The only iceberg we
That
ever
as far as
made
it zooms out. Wow.
in the lagoon. That's
There's
the
three
longest
different
one. That
was.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to make your wish.
We want something to fall off.
Okay. We need a big piece of ice to fall off.
There we go. It's a little warmer.
How about a medium piece?
Okay, a medium piece. Okay, a small piece.
A
Any
piece. A piece.
Right after the group's plea to the glacier, and seconds after the Zodiac had turned around to take us back, that cracked area on the right side of the cave broke loose with all the force of Thor's hammer. At the time, I would have bet $1,000 we had just been shot at from the top of the glacier.
Hold on to your way.
I saw it.
He's off the top.
But even like when it breaks from the flat areas of the wall, it's always like a gunshot. It's so loud now.
After being some of the fortunate few to see an iceberg calf, we participated in a boat race with the other crew. We took a beating, but made up for it by lying and telling them that we saw a killer whale while we were behind them.
Pleasure, Captain.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Good luck.
Yeah. We're in freaking ice.
We are on a boat with icebergs. Pretty
Yeah.
sweet. That's cool. Cool. I'm glad you're having a good time.
Our next stop was all of about a quarter mile away. Just on the other side of the bridge that crosses the lagoon is Diamond Beach. Remember this?
An iceberg hit the bridge like 10 years ago, and they were like, it made like a big dent, and they were like, oh, okay, maybe we should do something about this, and they filled in the bottom of the river here to make it a little bit more shallow, safer.
When those icebergs are small enough to fit under the bridge, they're washed out to sea. Some make their way back onto the beach, creating beautiful natural sculptures. The now transparent ice has the appearance of diamonds scattered along the black sand, hence the name Diamond Beach. You see this 50-something-year-old guy with the professional camcorder? That camera never left his hand except for the Zodiac adventure when he swapped it out for a DSLR. Somehow, sadly, there is no day 2 footage from this camera. We have no idea how it got dropped, but it didn't make it to the backup hard drives. So I need to give a special shout out to Steven for his excellent job covering day 2's adventures. With our heads full of lifelong memories, it was time to fill our bellies. We made our way along Iceland's beautiful South Beach, the beach view being matched only by the beautiful mountains on our left. Dinner and beds were being provided by the Foss Hotel, and as with all of our meals in Iceland, it did not disappoint. This is the view from the parking lot of Foss Hotel. As I stood there soaking in the beauty, I realized this was only day 2. My mind is on overload, my body needs sleep, I have no idea what day it is. The midnight sun completely shuts down my ability to tell time. It truly is another world, and I can't wait for day 3. Is Icelandic hard to speak? It's day 3. We're still on the same word.
Just like it sounds.
J, O with like a dot, but you know, you can just do a regular O. K-U-L. I'm gonna make that sound. That's actually a double L. Jökull.
Not only does GB speak multiple languages, he's been known to do a few spot-on impressions as well.
As David Attenborough would say, we are here
Yes.
in southeast Iceland, close to the town of Höfn. So we're like right here. We're looking up to Hafnarfjörður, which is that little tongue that comes down there. So we'll continue here and go into the East Fjords. Essentially, the way up here, we're going to be seeing a lot of the waterfalls around Fossá and the other rivers down the mountain range Uxie. So, yeah. 3-letter word. I mean, come on. Uxie. It's pretty rare.
Now traveling northeast along the eastern fjords, it was looking like another beautiful day. A quick diesel top off and we would be ready for the next adventure. See that top number? That's the same as 144 US dollars. See that bottom number? That's 15.6 gallons. But just look at the view $9 a gallon diesel will get you. Iceland's warmest days average between 68 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Due to the geothermal activity inside the tunnel, drivers can experience record air temperatures at a t-shirt inducing 85 degrees Fahrenheit. GB had told us we would get to travel through a small tunnel, but at 1,300 meters long, it felt anything but small. Exiting the tunnel, we were met with low-lying fog that obscured the tops of the mountains. GB assured us that there were dragons that reside in the hidden areas, and we were just going to have to enjoy the next iconic Iceland landmark without the distraction of the pesky dragons. Up ahead is one of the approximate 104 lighthouses in Iceland. But what makes this one special is the mountain to our left. Mount Eastward is home to several of my favorite aerial photos of Iceland. It is an incredible mountain rising nearly 2,500 feet above the lighthouse. With the mountain covered in a blanket of clouds, we focused our attention on this beautiful section of coastline. This stop was really a stop to see Eastward, but with the mountain concealed and only the coastline available to view, GB told us to mount up. He had another beach that may be more suitable to explore. Continuing east on Highway 1, GB had the perfect spot for a little beach exploration. You would be hard-pressed to find a bad beach in Iceland, but this spot was exceptional. Basalt columns, birds, beach treasures, and even the occasional water dog. It's like GB planned it all just for us to discover. As with most things in Iceland, this is a photographer's dream destination, and you know you're in a prime spot when your host takes a quick break to get some shots of his own. Next stop, lunch. When you think of traditional Icelandic foods, you may think of dishes like fermented shark or roasted sheep skull. But Iceland's best loved food is the humble hot dog. The Icelandic hot dog is made with a mix of free-range lamb, beef, and pork, and seasoned to perfection.
What's the everything?
I love the hot dog. It was good.
No, but
I got
you said
fried
get it with
onions.
everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is everything?
So everything is ketchup,
Fine.
mustard, remoulade, which is a mayonnaise sauce with like pickles and little spices in it. And it has raw onions and fried onions.
Okay, yeah, not everything.
Yeah, it was good. Well, they got 3 different kinds of mustard too. Yeah, they have like a spicy mustard, then they have an Icelandic mustard and a Danish mustard. I'm going back for another one. I had one. The fried onions. Oh, so good.
Combine an amazing hot dog with an amazing view, and you'll have a lunch break not soon to be forgotten. But we had a lot of days still ahead of us, and only a few miles north was our next stop. We are on our way to Mary Bay, home of Iceland's granite eggs. Iceland's rock takes the Henry Ford approach to color. You can have any color you want, as long as it's black. So how did Iceland find granite that closely matches the color of the eggs found in Iceland? Well, the eggs are made of Chinese granite and imported from China, where the artist lives for part of each year. We had a great time admiring the work that had gone into the eggs. Phil, however, was struggling with his engineering demons.
For me, I really am needing him to have scaled these eggs.
Some birds have little eggs and some birds have big eggs. So if you scaled them appropriately, that one would be the size of a softball and that one would be the size of an orange or a grapefruit.
But it would feel better to me.
That's the engine nerd. That's the engine nerd in you coming out.
Yes, I need scale.
You need to make sure.
Continuing our journey beyond the misscaled eggs, we notice a change in the landscape. Gone was the ocean, and in its place, fjords. The mountains changed in appearance as we gradually gained elevation. Svenskfoss is a relatively small falls just off of the ring road. What makes it spectacular is how it is framed by the amazing volcanic terraces surrounding it. Layer after layer of basalt creates what seems like a never-ending quantity of waterfalls. The only thing close to rivaling the spectacular landscape was this sign, posted by the local custodians. Climbing and gradually moving into the interior, GB had another location he thought we might enjoy. Notice how this turnout has no signs, no guardrails, and especially no other cars. This is one of those areas that only locals would know about. It's one of the advantages of touring with Icelandic. This exact spot is where I relaxed for the first time since arriving in Iceland. Up until now, I felt like it had been a race to absorb everything, film everything, and not miss out on a second of the experience. This was the first time that we were ahead of schedule, and I felt the pressure releasing from my body. As our group walked towards the canyon, I spent just an extra minute looking down this valley. I may have become a tiny bit emotional as the reality of my situation sank in. I'm in Iceland with good people doing what I love to do. I'm filming the highlight reel of God's portfolio. I've found beauty in every country I've filmed in, but it's obvious the Creator saved His best work for Iceland. We ate wild crowberries and drank right from Iceland's famous glacier-fed springs. As adventurers, we were in our element. GB gave us what I would consider his highest compliment. He told me he could tell that we had grown up in the outdoors. He said, "Ty, when you have worked with people as long as I have, you can tell quite quickly who is comfortable in these types of environments. This group feels at home in the outdoors." Thank you, GB. Feeling truly relaxed, we were ready to make our way to our stop for the night, the Lake Hotel. We took just enough time to drop off our bags and check out the rides in the parking lot owned by an acquaintance of GB's. Dinner had been scheduled later in the evening, which would allow for a late afternoon visit to the Vok Baths. The Vok Baths offer the unique experience of soaking in geothermal heated pools with the added possibility of cardiac arrest from jumping into the surrounding ice water. How cold is that water? This cold. Plunging into icy lake water may not be your thing, but Iceland is accommodating. chances are good that something on your visit will become your new favorite. With the last polar bear out of the lake, we returned to the Lake Hotel for another world-class dinner before retreating to our rooms. A small storm front had moved in for our return trip, as if to say, today is over, get ready for day 4. After a great night's sleep that felt like maybe 5 minutes, everyone loaded up for the day's adventure.
We are going to go to the second highest, or the third highest actually, waterfall in Iceland. It's about 400 feet high. But on the way is another one that's absolutely stunning and has these basalt columns. And then we are going to keep on back into our original true bad road route into the Highlands, into the Canyon of the Dragons and the broad-shouldered Queen of Iceland, Herðubreið. So that's a mountain. Just in case you thought it was an old girlfriend or something. Yeah. No, it's a mountain.
We aired up at the local N1 and bought a few more treats for the road. By this time, I had become addicted to Icelandic chocolate and had to buy another bar to make sure I could make it through the day. With air, diesel, and treats topped off, we were back on the road and on our way to Iceland's 3rd tallest waterfall. It was the coldest morning we had experienced so far, and everyone was dressing accordingly. Layers were added in the parking lot to fight the morning chill. 100 feet into the hike and another 100 feet gain in elevation, and everyone started removing those layers. The hike to Highlands is 1.5 miles from the parking lot. As with driving, the journey is a big part of the adventure. It's a beautiful hike before you ever even see a fall. What do you say when you first walk past this sign and look over the edge?
Wow, right?
The first significant fall you will see is not Highlands. This is Lighthouses, spectacular in its own right. The fall is framed by some of the tallest basalt columns in Iceland. It's spectacular and is sometimes mistaken for the main attraction, Highlands. We knew beforehand that due to weather and time constraints, we may not be able to see Highlands. Just another short walk and we were now in the Valley of Highlands. As luck would have it, we were able to see the majority of the fall through the gaps in the fog. We spent some time at the edge of the valley, enjoying what we could see and not for a second feeling like we had missed out. Brandon and Summer summed things up well.
Gosh, yesterday? Was it just yesterday? And we leave our hotel. Imagine the most beautiful scenery around you. Perched on top of a hill is the cutest little red church with nothing but green, lush vegetation around it. Sun's coming up. We drive around this bend and there is this white stallion bedded down, like laying down in all of its glory with its long white mane and long tail.
Yeah.
And there is nothing but green, lush vegetation. It's like it was painted.
It's like a dream. It's like a fairy tale.
If the thing had a horn on it, I mean, I would have
Unicorn.
sworn, yes.
We just all the time look at each other and we're like, is this real? And I don't feel like any picture can do it justice. You just have to be here and see it, experience it for yourself.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Whole other level.
Summer was right. You can't capture what you were seeing with a photo or even a video for that matter. I constantly reshot footage to include a person because I realized that no one would believe how big things are without some sort of reference. As we made our way back to the vehicles, we had the opportunity to view the gorge below Lighthouses a second time. It is said that elves inhabit the gorge along with several trolls. The latest told experience that I could find happened on New Year's Day of 2013. 2 men experienced elves singing in the rocks at the entrance to the gorge. It is unknown if alcohol played a part in this story, but I do know for sure that this would be a great place to be an elf. We turn now back to the south, but almost unnoticeably continued gradually to the west and deeper into the Highlands. Our destination for lunch was the canyon that this reservoir on our left feeds. But before entering the canyon, this water will produce 4,600 gigawatt hours of electricity each year to run the fjord's aluminum smelter some 60 miles away. So although this may not be what most would consider to be a waterfall, it's still quite spectacular. At the spillway, we turned north and after airing down, made our way along the canyon rim to a secluded spot overlooking the river. While I shot some landscapes, Stephen was asking GB the question everyone was wondering. What is your favorite spot in Iceland?
I really sincerely don't know. And they change from season to season. So I have favorite winter spots and favorite summer spots. And it's kind of cool to go different routes from time to time and see things you haven't seen for a while and revisit. And there's what is it, there's something like 26,000 miles of roads in Iceland. Only about 6,000 of them are actually paved. So, I like to spend my time on the other 20,000 or so.
F-roads. The F coming from the Icelandic word fjall, meaning mountain. This is F910 to F88. Or as our group would lovingly call, Mordor. You're looking at part of Iceland's Highland desert. Much of this area is so porous that water simply runs through it, making it very difficult for any kind of life to take hold. The only thing less supportive of life was this lone outhouse we found on the trail. Even in the darkest depths of Mordor, water must be had to sustain life. Water crossings are always a welcome sight, and today we took a little extra time to splash in the puddles. Emerson said, "Never lose an opportunity of seeing anything beautiful, for beauty is God's handwriting." Well, God had a lot to say about Iceland. We are now on F88 on our way to Herðubreið Mountain and one of the most amazing oasis areas I have ever seen. But first, we would make several water crossings that definitely put the F in F-roads. It is actually illegal to travel F-roads in a passenger vehicle without four-wheel drive. All-wheel drive vehicles generally do not have what it takes to navigate Iceland's water crossings, but that does not discourage some drivers. This monument stands as a testament to the destructive power of water and the hidden rocks below the surface. But hey, if you're one of those people that has more luck than common sense, go ahead and drive that RAV4 into the river. You just might come out on the other side. Back on dry ground, and if you stop this bumpy footage right here, you can see our next destination, Herðubreið Mountain, voted in 2002 as Iceland's favorite mountain. Herðubreið started life as a subglacial volcano that formed under deep ice. Volcanologists believe the entirety of the mountain was at one time beneath ice. That would have been a glacier measuring 2,600 feet high from where this video was taken. This type of marker is all over Iceland, and GB explained why.
Yeah, so that's probably built on an old original one.
Really?
You know, because this is a travel through, and this would definitely be a place that you would want to stop and overnight at, because this is kind of the nicest area around. So, you know, I still cannot fathom walking through these mountains and those deserts, but this is what they did, and they measured distances in shoes. We'll see in 2 days we'll actually see the shoes that they used.
Oh.
So the distance would essentially how long a shoe would last, and they would have multiple shoes with them.
How would they phrase that, the distance?
Oh, so it's a 10-shoe distance.
Herðubreið is awesome, and the oasis at its feet breathtaking and life-saving for those travelers of old. But we were starting to fall behind schedule. It was time to move on. With Herðubreið in our rear view, we made one of our longest and deepest water crossings. This section of 88 was one of my favorite sections of road. It twists and turns through shallow hills and valleys, creating a new spectacular scene around each corner. This was our very last water crossing. No one had time to be sad because it just so happened to be at another iconic waterfall, Glacier. The fall is not big nor extreme in any way like so many other Icelandic waterfalls, but Glacier sits amongst vegetation that in the fall turns a fiery red and orange, creating the appeal for photographers from around the world. With the sun setting, we raced through the desert. Everyone was tired. It had been a huge day of driving. For me, it was a time to reflect on the things I had seen and heard. GB shared these words with us earlier in the day when we stopped for lunch.
Yeah, so there's the word for ignorant in Icelandic is heimskur, which is a derivative of the word heim, which means home. And the idea is from the Viking times essentially that the person that sits at home does not get an education and purview into the wider array of things and information and experiences. So hence ignorance and sitting at home is a little bit kind of tied in our language.
Wise words to ponder as we get ready for day 5. Iceland does not have mosquitoes. What they do have is the midge. The average midge is smaller than 1.5 millimeters, allowing it to pass through common window screens. Enter the stylish head net. I almost passed up bringing a net. After all, I grew up a mile away from the mosquito capital of the universe, Malga, Utah, and never once did I consider wearing a net. When you see GB put a net on before exiting his Nissan Patrol, you pay attention and follow suit. Today was the only day the midges would bother us. With a little time taken to get used to the nets, it was business as usual. And when I say business as usual, well, first stop just happens to be the largest waterfall in Europe.
So Aldeyjarfoss essentially means the falling waterfalls. And yeah, the joke is they fall so hard you have to say it twice. So Aldeyjarfoss is the most powerful waterfall of Europe. Its fall and its magnitude of water is unparalleled. The average fall in it is actually about 110,000 gallons a second.
The walk from the parking lot to Aldeyjarfoss is about 15 minutes long. You hear and feel the falls long before you see it. But when you do, it's hard to put in words what you are experiencing. The fall is 330 feet wide and drops 144 feet. And if it looks familiar, you may have seen it in the Ridley Scott film Prometheus. Another short walk upstream will bring you to Selfoss Waterfall. Again, amazing. In the United States, we have Yellowstone. In Iceland, they have Herðubreið. One of the first things GB taught us as we entered Herðubreið is that it is superior in every way to our beloved Yellowstone when adding the modifier per capita.
What's it like?
It's hot, really. This part right here is really hot. Not so much here or here, but right here it's really hot.
Even without applying the per capita modifier, when it comes to unsupervised access, Iceland is unmatched. For the most part, it's up to you to pay attention to your surroundings and not die. I love that kind of freedom, but with it, there is the inevitable accident.
Before the advent of zoom lenses, so people were going to stand in here somewhere, and then they would, want to take a picture, and would get a little wider, they would stand back, and then suddenly, boom, you step into the next one.
The surface temperature of these pots is about 356 degrees, or 180 degrees C. Stepping into one quickly makes you unalive. And the smell?
You can't smell this right now, but it is bad. Just take your armpit. Never mind, it's worse than that.
All joking aside, this was a great place to visit. Pay attention to your surroundings, wear your midge net, and enjoy a very unique geological experience. Our next stop is Krotigau. Once only known by the locals, the geothermal heated underground pool was rediscovered by German geologists in the 1800s. From then on, the pool has been a popular tourist attraction. In recent years, the temperature has risen significantly, making it too hot to soak in. It was most recently made popular by the HBO series Game of Thrones. With Jon Snow and Ygritte in our rearview mirror, we were on our way to the Dimmuborgir lava fields. In Icelandic folklore, it is said that this area connects Earth with the infernal regions. It is told in Nordic Christian lore, the Dimmuborgir is the place where Satan landed when cast out of heaven. It too is a filming location for Game of Thrones.
So what happened was that lava actually flowed into this little valley back in the day. So the valley was closed in the far end, so it kind of just pumped it in here. And then suddenly the outer wall of the lava field gave way. All the lava that had not crusted basically flowed out, because underneath the crust it's still liquid and hot. So once the wall burst due to the kind of increased pressure of the volcano coming in, all the lava vented out to the south here, and the thin crust on top was not enough to actually hold it up, so it all came tumbling down and created these pretty amazing mazes, if you will. Back in the day, before we had paths, there was search and rescue here at least once a week, because people could not find their way through.
No way.
But now it's all paths and it's all colored, so I think we're going to be fine. Ultimately, the other explanation, of course, is that this was a huge troll party, and they were having a lot of fun here, dancing through the night and drinking way too much, and suddenly the sun came up and boom, they're all over the place. And if you kind of look into the rocks, you can definitely see the faces of a lot of these trolls.
Following our theme today of Icelandic film locations, our next stop takes us to the frozen lake location of Fast and Furious 8, Mývatn. After a quick lunch, we gathered together as a group of real car and truck enthusiasts to belittle and demean the Fast and Furious franchise. I mean, tour the lake. The lake system covers a little over 14 square miles, and if you can see past the midges, it is incredibly beautiful. The lake is actually named by combining the Icelandic words for midge and lake. I personally think the midges might be there just to remind people they haven't died and gone to heaven. But with Icelandic ice cream right across the street from the lake, the midges are going to have to put in some overtime. With the fate of the Furious left with the midges, we loaded up and hit the road. We rounded the south end of the lake and made our way northwest to another iconic waterfall, Goðafoss. We had seen much larger and more powerful waterfalls, all awesome for their own reasons. Goðafoss seemed to speak my language. To me, it is one of the most beautiful falls in Iceland. I can't tell you why, it just felt right. I would bet everyone in our group had moments like this, all different but equally important. Oh, and keeping on the cinematic theme of the day, you can see Goðafoss in Game of Thrones, Eurovision, and Star Trek Discovery. So this is day 5, and I'm finally starting to get a feel for day and night. Leaving Goðafoss, I noticed the sun was on its way down. So for the first time in 5 days, I watched its path. The sun doesn't set like it does in the United States. When the sun sets on top of the world in August, it takes its sweet time traveling what seems as much north as it does west. This creates a dreamlike situation for photographers, allowing for that magical golden hour to last an amazingly long time. Although the sun was low in the sky several hours earlier, when we pulled into Aldeyjarfoss, the lighting couldn't have been more perfect. As with our other stops, GB knew what times would be best to avoid the usual tourist traffic. We had Aldeyjarfoss all to ourselves. As we made our way down the rocky path, the anticipation built as the roar of the falls became progressively louder. We would not be disappointed.
Okay, so one of the questions that I had for myself before coming to Iceland is, would I enjoy a nature geology type tour? Because I enjoy what's in Utah. I enjoy the red rocks, the sandstone. I think it's pretty. I love the arches. I love the canyons. I think it's all that's really great. But would I enjoy it here in Iceland? And I'm having this wow moment at these basalt columns over here, where you have this defined layer of these incredible, I think are they not octagonal? Forget this, edit this crap out. These defined columns in this geologic layer. And then you have these columns that have fallen out like in straight pillars and then fallen into pieces like cinder block on the ground. And it's all natural. And it is so rare and so unique compared to anything we have back home. And I'm kind of geeking out over it. So I guess I do love it.
And you may have already guessed, but yes, Aldeyjarfoss can also be seen in the opening shot of Prometheus. Just 40 miles outside of the Arctic Circle is Akureyri. It would be our home for the night. Our hotel was at the base of one of Iceland's most iconic churches, and you could see the fjord at the end of the street. It was perfect. Could anything have made it better? Yes, dinner. And dinner was the exclamation mark at the end of a perfect day. Our meal was prepared by Rub 23, one of Iceland's premier restaurants. There was so much good food in Iceland. It's hard to put any particular restaurant at the top, but for me, Rub 23 holds that honor. This one day held enough adventure that most people would be happy if that's all they were able to do while visiting Iceland. For us, it was day 5, and we still had 2 more to go. Day 6 brought us a beautiful morning. GB told us that he had heard that pilot whales had been seen this morning in the fjord. We quickly loaded up and made our way clear to the end of the street. Well, not quite. We found the whales just a bit further south, but it struck me amazed that just a very short drive from where we had just been asleep was a pod of whales.
Everything is a surprise on this trip. It's just a magical place. It's something I don't think it's on many people's destination list of places they want to go. It wasn't for me, and maybe that's what's so special and unique about it, because I never would have come here if it weren't for Slorek's group and that they're inviting me to come along. But being here now, I would be so sad to have left this life and not been here, not visited it. It's amazing, it's magical.
Akureyri seemed to have it all. Awesome boats, amazing churches. They even have incredible traffic lights. Now, if they just had an amazing off-road shop. Enter Iceland. Iceland, short for Iceland Akureyri, has been in the mountain tour business for over 70 years. They played a major role in pioneering 4x4 travel in the Iceland Highlands. Their collection of super jeeps, as they are sometimes called, was impressive, and more than enough to keep these guys riveted for hours had GB let them.
What year? 70, early 70s?
73, I think.
73?
I'm sure.
Oh, a Dakota, that's cool. I like that greenie.
Holy smokes.
Very nice.
Just laughing at all the boys.
Because we come halfway across the world to look at some guy's someday projects in his backyard.
That's different than the ones in my backyard.
But we love the ones that are as similar as ours. He loves the old Wagoneer. I'm geeking out over the 78 Ford van. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. XJ? I mean, come on, man. It's an XJ in Iceland.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
After refueling and a quick scrub, we found our way back on the ring road and once again enjoying Iceland's epic scenery. We traveled north from Akureyri to Glombayr, one of the very first established farms in Iceland. Although these particular homes, the newest being built between 1876 and 1879, the Glombayr farm has been in use since 874. A look inside the turf homes gives you a look into Iceland life during the 17 and 1800s. We left Glombayr with a greater appreciation of early Icelandic life. True pioneers in any part of the world have faced hardships most first world men and women would not begin to understand. The hardest part of my adventure in Iceland was climbing into GB's 42-inch tire-equipped Nissan Patrol, not exactly roughing it. To emphasize the ease and comfort of our journey, our next stop would be the hot springs of Stormy. We are now headed south, soon to be back on the F-roads and once again exploring Iceland's Highland deserts before arriving at the hot springs located between Iceland's second and third largest glaciers. Our drive to the springs would take us halfway across Iceland. I couldn't help but think of what a welcoming sight this water must have been to those traveling through this desert on foot or horseback. Stormy is beautiful. Its geothermal heated water flows like a sheet across this valley. Walking paths have been constructed to make exploring the valley a little less lethal. Boiling water bubbles from the ground all around you, with only the occasional sign reminding you that the flowing water is a balmy 90 degrees C. I loved it. Most of our crew was looking forward to soaking in this amazing environment, but I had other plans. I just couldn't bring myself to see only one small area of this oasis. For some, a soak in Iceland's hot springs was bucket list material, and I can truly appreciate that. But for me, I just wanted to see more. Adult swim time had come to an end. Time to load up and get back on the F-roads. We still had a lot of miles ahead of us before dinner and bed. For some adventures, a long drive may be something that's frowned on, but not in Iceland. It is all part of the adventure. There were times when my body screamed for just a quick nap, but my brain would always say, sleep now and you will miss something. It's just that kind of place. All good things must come to an end is a proverb with roots that stretch back to the 1300s, long before big tires and four-wheel drive. But I think we all understood it a little better when we made our last transition from dirt to blacktop. A quick stop would be needed to air tires back up, stretch our legs, and enjoy our last few moments in Iceland's Highland desert. The landscape would soon be turning green again as we made our way to Iceland's most famous geyser, located just several hundred yards from Hotel Geysers, who is currently making another amazing meal for our group of travelers. We arrived at Hotel Geysers with just enough time to find our rooms and take a quick look at Geysers' unique architecture and art before dinner. I mentioned earlier that dinner was already being prepared. Actually, it started 24 hours before our arrival. Hotel Geysers is one of the few locations in Iceland that you can eat made from scratch rye bread cooked in geothermal heated sand. It takes about 24 hours to bake, and we had a fresh loaf served with our meal. As always, our food was incredible. As we made our way to our rooms, realization started to creep into the back of my mind that tomorrow would be our last day on the road. How's breakfast, Phil?
Wow. That was shocking. I had this strawberry yogurt yesterday.
Me too.
And it was good. And I was expecting something similar with this, and I got a big old spoonful, just shoved it down.
Sour cream.
Oh!
It's totally sour cream.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a messed up joke. That's messed up.
For most of us, breakfast was amazing, and with full bellies, we crossed the street to one of the world's most studied geothermal hotspots. Glacier is one of the most famous geysers in the world. The geyser has been studied as far back as 1206. When Glacier erupts, it can throw boiling water as high as 200 feet, but eruptions are infrequent, and Glacier can lie dormant for years. Fortunately for us, only 160 feet away is Geyser's little brother, Stormy, which typically erupts every 6 to 10 minutes. However, GB had that time down to the second. Well, almost.
5, 4, 3, 2,
1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. Come on.
Okay, let's walk.
For more than 600 years, scientists have studied the ground we just walked on. That's almost 2.5 times longer than our United States has existed as a country. Just one of the many things I was pondering as we walked back to the hotel. Brandon and Summer were on a different flight schedule, and this would be where we said our goodbyes. It was becoming more apparent that our adventure was coming to a close, but not before seeing several more epic Iceland locations. Gullfoss Waterfall is one of Iceland's most famous waterfalls. The two-tiered waterfall begins by dropping 36 feet and ends with a second drop of 70 feet. The two offset drops complement each other perfectly. One of the things that stands out in my memory of this adventure is how near impossible it would be to pick a favorite day. We started strong, and standing on the edge of Gullfoss this morning, it was apparent we would finish the same way. This is Susie. Susie loves horses. For 6 days, she had anxiously hoped for the opportunity to have a minute to share with this unique breed. In 982, Icelandic Parliament passed laws prohibiting the import of horses into Iceland. The breed has now been bred pure in Iceland for more than 1,000 years. It's easy to understand how a horse enthusiast would want to spend some time with them. We had seen many from the road, but GB provided a real one-on-one experience. With Icelandic horses checked off of several bucket lists, we saddled up the Super Jeeps. We were about to ride deep into Icelandic history. Thingvellir National Park, birthplace of the oldest surviving parliament in the world, and it all happened here in the year 930. Every year from 930 to 1800, the Althing, Iceland's parliament, met here to decide on legislation and dispense justice. All free men could attend the assemblies, and the Althing quickly became the social event of the year. After all, who wouldn't want to miss a good old-fashioned drowning?
Right here is the drowning hole, because the Vikings were very gentle. They would not behead women that broke the law and had earned the capital punishment. So they were gently drowned here.
Gently.
I think I'll take the quick beheading instead of the gentle drowning.
Well, you know, I'm not sure that was really a choice because I am Viking. But that was the function here. So the Congress, in addition to having kind of the general law and oversight, they were also the judge and jury, if you will. So cases were brought here, read to the chieftains, and they would then decide what to do. Capital punishment was not common even at that time, but it was reserved for heinous crimes, you know, killing off your spouse and things like that, especially if that was done by your lover. And well, we don't have to go into any further details. You can imagine the rest of it. But this is the drowning pond. The waters here are Öxará, so Öxará literally means the Axe River, and it means the Axe River for males. So it was a convenient way of getting rid of the evidence, you know, because of the running water, once somebody had faced the punishment for his crimes. Again, you know, seldomly used because it also did, you know, you didn't want to put too much of that in the fish in the lake that you had to fish anyway to live while you were here. But and I guess I'm putting this a little bit more together than the historian would have done. But so this is the law rock. So this is where the lawman would stand and project the law to the Congress. On the other side, in the rift, is what we call Commoners Gulch. So that's where the commoners, those that were not, basically had not voting rights in the Congress, could stay and listen to the proceedings and or wait for their judgment. So obviously there was you know, not everything was beheading. Some were, you had to leave the country, some were you were outlawed, and some, in some cases it was just a fee or a financial hardship that was imposed upon you for whatever you did. Yeah, most common. Yeah. So it's like traffic. Yeah. Kind of. Yes. Like forgot your headlights on your horse. You know.
Turn them on.
Thingvellir was an awesome experience. A beautiful place to end an amazing adventure. The thought of seeing things and standing in places that Viking chiefs had seen and stood on was overwhelming. As I near the end of this documentary, a question keeps coming into my mind. How do you create a closing scene that matches how you felt these last remaining hours of a life-changing adventure? I pondered this. Believe me, I've pondered this for hours. I could show you the ride through Reykjavik or the last few meals we shared together, but it all fails to what we had just seen and experienced. The big tire toys had all been returned. The rides we had made home for the last 7 days now gone. Stephen said what we all were feeling.
Not gonna lie, it's rough watching them go.
But adventure, curiosity, and freedom are not found in big tire super jeeps. The vehicle is simply a tool. The spirit of adventure, exploration, and freedom lives inside of each of us. Iceland will make you see life differently. It has a way of bringing to the surface the good things in us that we may have not felt since we were children. So how do you leave something like this behind to carry on with what some people would call normal life? J.R.R. Tolkien said it best. Though here at journey's end I lie, in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, the stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. I'm Ty Coleman, and this was my adventure while filming in Iceland.